It was not that long ago that I opened up this copy of Williams Arcade's Greatest Hits right here that has 6 popular arcade games, or should I say 5 popular arcade games, and 1 arcade game that some people just aren't familiar with. I was excited to open this as a sealed game because it's one of the first compilation discs that I ever owned. And there were some heavy hitters on here. There are some heavy hitters on here, I should say. Robotron 2084, a game that I've actually improved on playing as an adult. Defender, a game I still can't play very well, but I used to watch people play in arcades. Joust is another one of those that I've gotten a little bit better at as an adult, but not a lot better. Defender 2, which was also known as Stargate, and that had to be changed due to copyright issues. Sinistar, one of the first talking games, I remember that. And then Bubbles, which I really don't know a lot about. So there's 6 games on here. There are full motion video interviews of some of the game's creators, like Eugene Jarvis is on here, and I love listening to Eugene talk about his history with the company. It is a fun disc to own, and if you don't have it and you have a PlayStation, I strongly recommend it. There are a lot of reasons to own this, between the trivia and between the games and between all kinds of customizations, so you can play the games however you want. I think that is really neat. But that is open. You want to see an unopened game. You want to see me unseal a game. And it is Midway Monday, so let's go ahead and open up a sealed copy of Midway's Greatest Hits, the Midway Collection 2. This is special for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it's Midway and it's Midway Monday. I love Midway stuff, whether it's games that they licensed or games that they created and published. I've been a fan of Midway for a long time. So, of course, it makes sense to be able to open up anything Midway that I can on this show. But the other reason that I really wanted to open this up is because there's one game on here, and you might not be able to see it very well, but Moon Patrol is on this compilation. And Moon Patrol for console, up to this point, was something that was not very oftenly seen. This was a game that you saw maybe on the Atari 2600, but that was pretty much it. I don't recall whether it was a ColecoVision version. There certainly wasn't a Nintendo or Super Nintendo version or version for the Genesis. So we really didn't see this for a long time. And then with the PlayStation, we finally got a version of it to play at home, and it was pretty close to arcade perfect. These days, thanks to Hamster Corporation's Arcade Archive series, we can actually play the arcade game either on the Nintendo Switch or on the PlayStation 4. So that is a nice get if you like arcade games like I do. Shout out to Hamster Corporation, by the way, for continuing to deliver these arcade games for play at home. I really appreciate those as someone who spent a lot of time in arcades as a kid. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open this up and we're going to see what is on the inside. I do want to share the rest of the games that are on the disc, though, before I go ahead and open this up. There's Blaster, which comes from Eugene Jarvis and his crew. We have Burger Time, which is a Data East game that Midway picked up for licensing. And Midway did pick up a lot of games for licensing. They picked up Space Invaders. They picked up Pac-Man. They picked up Galaxian. These are games that Japanese companies didn't bring over here, that Midway would license and have shipped in the US to arcades. So Midway played a very important role early on during the golden age of arcades in getting these games into arcades that were originally in Japan here in the States. So we have Burger Time, Joust 2. I believe the story with Joust 2, if memory serves me right, is we didn't see that game in arcades a lot. It was a very limited release, so having Joust 2 on this disc was a big deal because more people could play it for the first time, myself included. I had never played Joust 2 before playing this compilation. Moon Patrol. Moon Patrol is just awesome. And it's a very simple premise. You're moving from left to right, you're scrolling across the screen, you're trying to get from a checkpoint, which is like checkpoint A to like checkpoint E, and then checkpoint F to checkpoint I. So you take it in sections, and you have to hop over craters, and you have to shoot down enemies, either from a front gun or a top shooting gun. It is interesting. It is a lot of fun to play. It's simple. It's an IRM game. I believe it's from 1982, 1983, somewhere around there. And I did play this one a lot in arcades, and I play it even more now. Root Beer Tapper, which was also known as Budweiser Tapper. We used to see that game in bars during the 1980s. Budweiser had prominent advertising. And I believe, if I remember right, that there were cup holders that you could put like your Budweiser or other drink in. They changed that to Root Beer Tapper to be released in arcades, and that's how we see it here in this compilation. Splat, I really can't tell you much about Splat. Sorry, it's here. That's all I can tell you. And then Spy Hunter, the game that popularized once again the Peter Gunn theme. You drive in a spy vehicle where you can load up oil slicks or missiles or machine guns, and you have to shoot down enemies and try and reach the end goal while scoring as many points as you can and not shooting down civilians. So that is what's on this compilation. Let's go ahead and try and open this. I actually needed to do this in a separate take, because the first time I did it, I was well into the video, and then I couldn't get it open. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen again here. There we go. So I have the seal ready to be opened. There we go. I'm taking the front off. And we're going to take there we go. Take the top off just like that. Whoops, I'll have to pick that up later. We'll just put that down there for now. We also do have the label at the top, Arcade's Greatest Hits there. And we'll take that off, and then we'll open this up and see what's inside. Maybe. Really cool to open this up on a Midway Monday. Shout out to my friends on Twitter and Instagram, NBA Jam Book and Insert Coin Doc. Insert Coin is a documentary all about Midway. I've talked about them in this channel the documentary in this channel plenty of times. Make sure you check that out. There are some really good deals to get either the Blu-ray or to be able to watch it digitally. And the NBA Jam Book is still available if you want to read the story of how one of the most popular arcade games of all time came to be. That is the place to check those out. When we open up the case, we see a disc that is black and blue, just like the front cover. That's what we see there. And we have the manual, which is not very thick, and you would not expect it to be. The manual is about, I would say, 25, 26 pages. And it walks you through all of the games that are included on the compilation, as well as some of the in-game options. There's not a lot to see here in terms of what the manual looks like. It just walks you through some of the basics. And if you played the arcade games before, you are well on your way. There are some things about having this compilation that is different than having the arcade games. For example, you can set the number of lives you have. You can set the amount of points you have to score to get extra lives. You can basically manipulate the arcade experience to make it as easy or as difficult as you want to make it, rather than just using dip switches like arcade operators used to use. So there's a lot more customization here, at least in terms of that setting. You also can adjust the video, so you can make your video output fixed to whatever kind of screen you have. This is great for my GX TV, which is a much smaller screen, so I can kind of scale that down and make it so nothing leaks off the top of the screen, which is kind of nice. So, and you can see how old this is because we're looking at the original PlayStation controller here. This is before DualShock and Dual Sticks, so that is something that is new and different. So we have Burger Time here, the tastiest new entree in the video menu, specialty of the house. Help Chef Peter Pepper, I hate that name. Peter Pepper faced a race to collect patties, cheese, lettuce, and buns. The whole idea of Burger Time is to create burgers, and you have to drop them from the top of the screen. Let me do this. Top of the screen down to the bottom. So that is how that works. It is difficult. It is a chase kind of game. You get a certain number of peppers to use that you can stun monsters with, but really I struggle with that game. I have never gotten any good at it, and I think the play controls are a little sticky. Joust 2 is here. Like I said, there is the Midway registration card, and we've talked about the Midway registration cards before, but I'll show that to you on camera so you can see it. What else do we have here? And then something for Moon Patrol, talking about how the game works. I'm curious to see whether... Yeah, they don't give you any options in terms of like some of the other extras here. There are some Digital Eclipse credits that I'm kind of looking at here, just to see if I recognize any names, and I don't think I do. The one of the people that I know, one of the amazing people who I know who works for Digital Eclipse, I think this is before he started working there. And there are some video interviews and things here. Eugene Jarvis, Larry DeMar, George Gomez, Scott Morrison, Steve Meyer, and John Newcomer are all here in this particular setup. So this is great. This is really nice to have. The thing about this particular compilation, by the way, especially if you're thinking about getting it new, is it is pricey. This I finally scored it for less than $50, but this had been going for 60 to 65 brand new. And really, to me, the best way to play a PlayStation game these days to make sure that the disc doesn't have any damage is to be able to get it new if you can. It's one of the side products, I guess, or side effects of doing this Unsealed show is I also have a whole library of games to play that are untouched. I don't have to worry about them being used or scratched or anything like that. I can pop them into my PlayStation or my PS2 or whatever console they're for, and I can go ahead and just start to play them right off the top. So not only do I get the joy of opening these games again like I did when I first bought them, but I also have these games brand new to play. But keep an eye on this one if you're thinking about getting it, because the price is starting to go up a little bit, as we're seeing for some PlayStation games, although it's not as bad as it is in the PlayStation 2 market, where it tends to be pretty crazy expensive. So that is all for this episode of Unsealed. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really nice to be able to get this open on a Midway Monday. We will do more openings throughout the summer and for the rest of the year. I do have some really cool stuff lined up. But until the next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will do it again really, really soon.